Haven't Seen It with Tim Sestito and Tommy Tevenet. Hello, everybody. Welcome on in. Thank you all so much for listening today. This is a podcast where one of us is watching a movie for the very first time. Today, that is myself. Today, that is Tommy. And I'm not sure about our special guest, Mr. Connor Dowling, joining us here, but he is joining us for the final episode of Michael Mann Month. We are very excited to be covering just heaters, like
Constant.
constant heaters.
Speaking of Michael Mann, we didn't cover that, but we did cover that years ago.
Covering 4 of his movies that I hadn't seen has just, like, cemented him in my mind as one of the best directors ever, like, one of my favorites. Like, I don't know, they're just, like, all of his movies are, like, these testosterone fueled, like, hyper intense, realistic films that elevate their source material and just create this world that I think, like, can really only exist in cinema. And it's very funny to, like, look back, especially a movie like that we covered today, The Insider. Like, if they were going to do this today, it would be a 6-episode Netflix miniseries
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
and not a film.
Cover it with passion. That's his thing. Just soak it in passion.
Mhm.
Tell it,
And
like, make you feel something.
attention to detail,
Yeah.
and just it really, like,
This is an interesting one because, like, early in the series, I was talking about how Michael Mann is more of like a style over substance director sometimes, but in a good way. And I didn't feel that within this movie, The Insider. The Insider, I felt like it had a more little restraint in terms of, like, neon lights, color palettes, things like that. He didn't really play within that world as much as he usually does. But still, there's just great shots in this, great performances, and just like you're engaged throughout. This is a movie that, like, I watched twice because we were gonna cover it, like, early in the week or whatever, and I realized I was like, "Oh, I watched this, like, last Monday. I need to get, like, locked in and watch this again just to, like, get myself refreshed," and, like, sometimes if I did do that, I'm like, "Oh, god damn it." I'm like, in this case, no, I loved it. 2.5-hour movie, locked in, fucking just was so fucking happy to rewatch it. I was like, "Can't wait to rewatch this movie." That's the power of Michael Mann.
Dowling, what was
Yeah.
your relationship? Because I know you're a bit of an encyclopedia when it comes to films of the
Oh,
90s.
thank you. This was in that weird sweet spot. I never saw it. My high school jobs where I used to work in the video store, and I also worked in the movie theater. I graduated high school 2000. This came out in the theater 99. I'm pretty sure I was working there.
Yeah.
Never watched it.
You know,
Like, American Pie was out, Matrix was out,
Yeah.
Mummy was out. I was going to watch them a lot with all my buddies at the time because I'd
Mm.
be like, "Come on." They're like, "Oh, we haven't seen that." Those I just kinda watched. I never saw Perfect Storm. That was, like, 97,
Mm.
and this was the other one, The Insider. They were It was in the theaters when it was free for me, but that was, like, right when I was graduating high school.
and
But it's
it's
also, like, the type of movie that, like, I feel like if we watched this when we were 18, like, all of us, we probably wouldn't have liked it. We probably wouldn't have appreciated it. It's not a
Mm,
movie you're like, "Oh,
I
I need to
might
go
have.
see this."
I don't know if I
Yeah.
would've I think I would've liked it,
Appreciated the
but
performances maybe, but
I
I
don't
wouldn't
know
have.
if I would've Tommy, I think you would've hated this movie if you saw it when you were
Yeah,
18 years old.
Yeah,
would've.
possible,
I
yeah.
think I would've liked it. I think w what it's like, I think there is something to this movie of just having the experience of life on your side and getting knocked down a couple times in your life to really kinda understand the mindset of Russell Crowe's character, Jeffrey
Oh,
Wigand,
yeah.
and just, like,
Mm.
kind of and understanding the principles of where he's coming from. You know what's interesting? I go to a history club, and at this history club,
Nerd alert.
they do historical speeches. So the speech this past month was Patrick Henry's speech at the Virginia
Oh,
House of Burgesses, "Give me liberty or give me death."
liberty or give me death.
And when you think of the context of Patrick Henry in this, his wife had just died. He had 8 children. He was a wealthy attorney in the state of Virginia or it was the colony of Virginia at the time. And, you know, he went in front of all of his peers and said, "Give me liberty or give me death." And sac, you know,
Conviction.
conviction in what he truly believed in. And very interestingly enough, like, hearing that speech and then going into The Insider where someone like Jeffrey Wigand is speaking that way, to
Sure.
me was like it was
Lot of parallels.
it was very a lot of
Oh,
parallels,
yeah.
very serendipitous, um, kind of telling of a different, obvious, like, you can't know the detail of the Patrick Henry speech the way that you can with the Jeffrey Wigand because there's no there that happened 250
But
years
you
ago.
gotta wonder if you're brave enough to do it if you were in
Mhm.
that situation.
Well,
Yeah.
you also feel the parallels to this even to, like, to today where we have, like, stories of, like, 60 Minutes that getting stories canceled at the last minute and shit like that. So this things, like, kind of plays in over and over again
Hey,
throughout
it's the
time.
1984 fear, man,
Yeah.
like,
Exactly, of, like, the censorship and stuff like that is always gonna be there.
I and I think
and
So
mun
I
is mun.
I
yeah.
also think it's interesting for Tommy and I specifically because, like, we came into this happened in 1994 where he was fired before I was even born. He was got
Yeah.
Yeah.
fired the year I was born. Tommy was
I
just
was
an ink
12.
Tommy was
I
just
was
a
in middle school.
Tommy was just a wink in his father's eye at this point,
Yeah.
right? Like, but for Tommy and I, we really kinda came up in the death of big tobacco
Oh, yeah.
in a sense of, like, in their terms of their cultural relevance, in terms of the
Oh,
Marlboro ad at Yankee Stadium, the Marlboro Man in Times Square, like, any kinda advertising for big tobacco, like, any kind of pressure
you could
towards
not
younger au
imagine.
Well,
Oh,
exactly, like,
Yeah.
you have, like, comic
yo,
books or magazines that would
let me
have
tell you,
cigarette ads.
this is true. I've never smoked a cigarette in my entire life because I made a promise to my grandma I wouldn't. I have, as they have said in this movie, used other delivery methods of nicotine, like I have. It's an addictive thing. When I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
when I was young, man, we Marlboro Bucks, they were the
Mhm.
little coupons. You can get some dope ass shit from that. I collected them all from my aunt, from my mom, from my dad. That's how I got my first CD player.
Marlboro branded.
Se Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
Oh,
Well, it's
yeah.
like you see the Joe
I'm
Camel
not
ads, and Joe
kidding. No,
Camel
but
is
think about that.
yeah,
Like, I was in middle school, 7th grade. I just started listening to CDs, like, every single time I played music that I was
y
hearing for the first time in my life that made a memory, I remember the Marlboro symbol. I really do. And
yeah.
I was not a smoker. Like, not kidding. Sports Illustrated, fucking huge. Joe Camel was the coolest shit on the
Exactly,
planet.
yeah. Joe Camel
Kid
looked like the fucking
yo,
man. Like,
kids fucking rock them on caps and then, like, got sent to the frickin' vice principal's office
well, like,
after a while, like,
there's still some remnants when we were kids. Like, I remember,
Well,
like,
yeah.
it was like it was by the time we were old enough to have it conscious.
yeah,
When my generation got to your generation,
yeah.
wiped out. We were all like, by the end of it, it was like, dare. Yeah, that didn't work, but like, it was a push. Like, that started with
Mm.
Nancy Reagan. It was like, say, say no to drugs. Like, that hit hard for a lot of people.
Well, I remember, like, so much of, like, like, elementary school, like, they sell, like, the candy cigarettes, and you pretend to smoke it and be like, "Oh, yeah, look
Yeah,
what
but
I'm
that
doing."
that
Like,
was
"Oh, shit."
harmless. It
Yeah.
was like back in the day,
But still, it gets
it
you
was
in the
cool.
mood.
When I went to high school, there was a smoking corner. It was right across the street from the school. It was fine. Like 60 people used to stand there and fucking puff butts all the fucking time.
And and it's
Like,
and it's also interesting when you think about it, like, in terms of nicotine, like, cigarettes have lost their cultural cachet. I think, like, it's interesting. Like, I did a Mad Men rewatch when it dropped on HBO Max to just view it
oh,
again,
nice.
and
Great show.
like, you're just like, "Oh, every room you walked into just reeked of cigarettes." Like, there was just no
Oh,
escape
yeah.
from it. So everybody was, like, used to the smell of it, and now you live in a
Well,
world where it's like, it's not a common smell. So
smoking sections were pretty much not a thing by the time that, like, Tim and I, like, were
I
becoming
remember
kids.
them, but they
They were,
were
like,
It was
going on the
banned
way
in
out.
like 97-ish,
Yeah,
right
exactly.
around
So, like,
there.
they're on the way out by the time we
I
were, like,
was on
early kids.
flights where smoking was allowed. I remember the first time
but
I went to Ireland, I was in 3rd grade.
but it's
Everyone was puffing butts the whole flight.
but now there's just now it's vapes. Now there's other delivery mechanisms that big to
Delivery mechanisms
that
of
that
nicotine,
that they
Zins,
that
all that shit.
that big tobacco has found. So it's not like they've lost that they still clearly wield power, but they don't wield
Oh, yeah.
cultural
It's not
influence
the
in the way
same.
that they used to.
And that money, it was printing it. Like, in the
Oh yeah,
'90s, their slice of the pie was substantial. You remember how much what'd they say? 600 billion a year in litigation fees? Like, doesn't matter. You're still making more than that. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
and
Like,
they say in the movie too, like Jeffrey Wigand came from, you know, a medical background, working in the kind of bioengineering,
spoke Japanese.
then goes
Yeah.
into tobacco, where it's a sales culture primarily, not a research focused kind of
You do
firm.
not need to take the Hippocratic Oath to
Y-
do research.
No, you do not.
Like,
Yeah,
So
you
yeah.
know?
it's very interesting to kind of like watch something like The Insider, which is just like a weird cultural document. I almost feel like as well in terms of like, and also like think about, not that 60 Minutes is irrelevant, because I would say 60 Minutes is still quite relevant. If you watch a football game, you've heard the
Everyone for the past 3 generations, 4 probably, if they're still alive, knows and has watched 60 Minutes in their
but
life.
That's the
but
thing, the 60 Minutes at the time was, like, the number 1 rated show, which was insane to think about because nowadays
20 million a week.
yeah,
Name
everyone
me a show
watch
that
it.
gets 20 million a week.
It's
Doesn't
and, like,
happen
it's
anymore.
still put in numbers. It's, like, within, like, the top 10, top, like, 20
Oh,
shows,
yeah, man.
but, like, it's, like, there's still a time where, like, that was thing, like, everyone on Sunday would watch 60 Minutes and talk about the next morning, on Monday morning. That'd be the Monday morning talk, like, "Did you watch 60 Minutes? Do you hear what they're talking about?" This is how much cultural power this show had.
And I still think I think it still has it, like, there, and again, if we're talking about delivery mechanisms, now it's YouTube,
Yeah.
Instagram, TikTok, like,
Well,
there's different ways of
it's
breaking up
there's
the
so many more channels.
there's so many more
Yeah, it's
channels,
so
Not
so it's hard
bifurcated.
to try
there's
to look
no
at it,
more chokehold like it
but
used to be,
it's
you
difficult
know?
to look at it from, like, a Nielsen rating standpoint and
Yeah.
try to compare, like, "Oh, it's lost its cultural cachet." It's like, yeah,
Well, no,
network television has.
it still has clout. It still has clout, of course, and, like, it has the legacy, but, I
Right.
mean, it's not one of the channels, It's not like Edward R. Murrow,
Mhm.
like the most trusted man in America, where it's like, "Here you go," or if you don't like it, you put on one of the other 3 channels.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like now there's a billion places to get your info, so you're never gonna hit that again. Like, you're never gonna hit, like, a weekly show doing 20 million,
No,
like,
Yeah.
of
unless it's like
course.
a
Yeah,
Sopranos or
yeah.
Game of Thrones, you know? It's like, it's not gonna be the news. Like, people get too mad.
Mm. Well, I'm glad we covered The Insider because, there's still some picks we had left from Michael Mann because, we could have covered The Keep, which is the only horror movie he made that's, like, basically obscure. I don't think we're ever gonna cover that. We could have done Last of the Mohicans, which I think we'll get to eventually.
Oh, one of my
Um,
favorite movies.
Ali was up there, and then we have, like, his later period movies, Public Enemies, Black Hat, Ferrari. I don't know if we're gonna cover those, but Best Video in Hamden, shout out to them, the video store near me. They were doing a screening of The Insider last week, and I was like, "Oh, Tim, holy shit, this lined up perfectly. Let's cover The Insider." So I went to a screening of The Insider on Monday, and just like how the movie itself didn't have much box office power, there weren't a lot of people at the screen for The Insider. I was one of 7 people at the screening. So,
It's alright.
uh,
I love a quiet
yeah.
movies.
Still fun, and, like, everyone's, there's one guy who's asking us all at the beginning, like, "Has anyone seen this?" And most of us were like, "No." They're like, "Okay." I was like, "I'm here for the Michael Mann of it all. I'm here for the Russell Crowe of it all, for the Pacino of it all."
He was
Um,
Oh,
there to network and tell people to listen to the podcast
I
because we're
love it.
covering it on
yeah,
Michael
yeah,
Mann
yeah.
Month.
I love it. This was right around the time I really fell in love with Russell Crowe. He's in a great bad movie with Denzel Washington from this time period.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
called Virtuosity.
Love that movie. We gotta
Oh,
cover it. We gotta
oh,
make Timmy watch
please,
it because I
please,
rewatched that recently,
yeah, get get me back for that one because that one's outstanding. Like, early internet stuff, like, very sci-fi, lot of fun. But
Well, it's
yeah,
the thing about Russell Crowe that, like, he started off as an actor in Australia,
yeah,
and,
he was in Romper Stomper.
yeah,
That's
Romper
the web.
Supper, and
Yeah,
then he pretty much in '95 was when he started to, like, slowly get into the American film scene because he had
love it.
Virtuosity, great fun bad movie, and he had The Quick and the Dead, which is a very fun Sam Raimi movie, and then he blows up 2 years later with LA Confidential. That's, like, his real breakout role,
So good.
which we're gonna be covering that soon. We're gonna be doing the LA movie month soon. More details about that to come. Um,
Basinger won the Academy Award for that, right?
yeah, and I don't
Yeah.
think Crow was nominated. He probably should have been,
Yeah.
Guy
but, from
Pearce,
what I've heard.
he was in that one too?
But anyways, he has
Good
LA
one.
Confidential, gets all the heat off of that, and then 99 comes out. His follow-up to 99, first is Mystery Alaska.
That was a good
Uh,
movie, Pond
yeah,
Hockey.
but I don't think that made much of a dent, overall. It
Nah,
was like
that was a
8 million at the
rental.
box office. And then The Insider. So then he has this run where he goes from The Insider, gets nominated for an Oscar. Then next year, Gladiator gets nominated for an Oscar.
It's good.
Then
Wins.
the next year after that, 2001, yeah, he wins the Oscar for Gladiator. And then 2001, again, gets nominated for the Oscar. I forget if he won for Beautiful Mind.
Perfect Mind?
He
That
didn't
was a
win
great
for
No,
movie.
Beautiful
Beautiful
Mind.
Mind.
But still,
Beautiful Mind, that's it.
3 years in a row as a nominated for or winning the best actor, a nomination, in the Oscars. What a fucking run, and it's crazy
Amazing.
he has never gotten an Oscar nomination since, which, like, Master Commander, I feel like he probably could have, and, like, now
Yeah,
he's in
not popular enough.
yeah, now he's in his
Mm,
kinda hacky phase where he's in The Pope's Exorcist and shit,
Well,
but
Yeah.
it was Bill Simmons who just recently they were covering a Russell Crowe movie on their podcast, and he compared him to Shaquille O'Neal. Where
yeah,
he was
yeah.
like this stretch in the '90s is him on the him and the Magic to the Lakers where he's just like in his absolute prime, might be one of the
The
best to ever
most
do it.
dominant
Then
player on the planet.
then he takes a few years off, just gain some weight. Then the nice guys come out and that's
Orson
like the
Welles
Heat.
it
That's
up.
that's the Heat. That's Shaq on the Heat in '06. I was like, I wish my
Well,
brain could work like that. What a take.
the
Like,
Insider was kind of the
shout out
start
Bill.
Hey,
Kind of the start of,
killing
like,
it.
Russell Crowe gaining weight for roles because, like, you see Virtuosity and you see fucking, like, Confidential, you
He's a
see
sharp man.
he's fucking, like, he's a fucking hot guy, like, he's fucking hot shit. Virtuosity, he put on, like, or not Virtuosity, Insider, he put on a
Yeah.
ton of weight for that
He
role.
he
That
had a
became a
few he had a few milkshakes.
yeah, he had a recurring, like, thing where he was, like, for roles, like, in the future where he was like, "Yeah, so, like, I thought for this role, I need to gain 60 pounds." It's like, "Did you really think that, Russell Crowe, or do you just wanna eat a fuck ton?"
I mean,
And he's in the
I saw him recently in Nuremberg, and he's when he's playing Hermann Goring, and like Goring's a big guy. Like, don't
Oh,
get me wrong
got
there.
hooked on got hooked on morphine, and then, like, after he got off, it just kinda
All the Nazis got hooked on something.
yeah,
But
then
he
just ate himself into fatso.
yeah, but he like Russell Crowe sits in that movie, and he's gigantic in that movie. Like he's
Wow.
the biggest he's ever been. And I mean, it is accuracy, but it's also like he doesn't mind letting himself go for a role. It's
You
commendable.
for
you're
the
taking a
Insider
little shot at the heart here, huh? Like,
yeah, for the
you gotta
Insider
pay extra, have him clean you out after, like, you got a
Yeah.
guy?
for the Insider particularly, he gained roughly 35 to 50 pounds, and he adapted a high-calorie diet of cheeseburgers, fatty foods, and beer, and it's like, did not work. And I feel like that was just like, yeah, you know what? I like this shit. 'Cause
Yeah,
he's the type of guy where, like, apparently if you, like, are on the Russell Crowe film set and you're working on it, he'll find a local bar in the area, like, near the film set, and he'll just, like, be like, "Hey, like, do you have, like, a private floor or a private area in this room that I can rent out?" And he'll rent out the whole fucking floor or the whole bar itself, and, like, anyone that's in the film crew can come in. That's the specific guest list, and he just gets fucking wasted if everyone in the film crew, 'cause, like, you're working with Russell Crowe, and that's the only because
Sounds
he still likes
sounds
getting
awesome.
wasted.
that's
Yeah.
my kinda Hollywood.
That,
Like,
Right?
that's my
you're
movie
not
star
bothering
right there.
anyone else, you're taking care of the staff, you're taking care of your boys, like,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
you
especially
could
for
be,
these crew guys where they're working
yeah.
25 days, so they're getting $20,000, but they're only getting it for that period of
Yeah,
day.
no,
So
they're
and they're getting
moving
a
and shaking.
and they're getting
They're
a twenty
young.
dollars they're getting a $20 stipend for food.
Oh,
Like that's not covering
yeah.
beans. So
Oh, dude.
you're taking care of your guys. You're gonna get good work from them, especially if you're getting
Damn
hammered playing
right.
cards with them in a
Yo,
bar.
I was either in my 20s, I was teaching at a Catholic school, going to my master's degree program, and waiting tables all full time. We drank hard, and
Yeah.
and we drank garbage because we were poor. If someone was like, "If you can, like, be fine and, like, contain yourselves, it's on me." Oh my fucking god, I would have washed this guy's feet and been like, "Bless you, sir." Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'd die for him. Serious, like, that's a nice way to be, you know? And apparently, then you get in a few scuffles here and there,
He's
like,
he's he's had
that
he's
Yeah.
had his fair share.
that led
He's
to the,
Australian, though, that's what they
South Park
do.
well, and of course, that led to the South Park episode, classic, like, that
Tugger.
was a
Oh my god, it's Russell
yeah.
Crowe. Oh my
"Alright,
god, it's Russell Crowe.
we can't
Fighting
fight
around the
cancer,
world.
so we're gonna fight people with cancer." Like, c
Uh,
classic. But that's old Hollywood. I feel like him and Gene Hackman have the same kinda attitude. Like, I could see them from the same kinda, like, acting tree, and the dude's awesome. And if you're great, you're allowed to be a little rough around the edges, in my opinion.
I
yeah,
I
yeah,
I I
for sure.
agree completely, but, quick let's just do quick, what have you watched recently? I'll start, I know Tommy, I think, went to the same screening that I did, but I went and saw A League of Their Own at AMC, just one of my all-time favorites, shout out Gina Davis in that,
Mm,
fantastic.
so
Um,
great.
just one of those great baseball movies to get you into the swing of things, especially when the
100%.
Mets have lost 11 in a row at the time of
Ah,
recording. 11
tough
in
for
a
Yeah,
me.
row, uh,
Oof.
and it's April, but, it's literally the Family Guy clip. "It's what
Uh,
life's like being a Mets fan. It's the first pitch, and the season's over."
now,
They actually did it this time.
I believe it. It's,
Um,
that's one of my favorite memories is watching that movie for the first time with my daughters.
yeah.
It's
The
it's one of those
ending,
ones that, gets you right in the feels every
yeah,
time.
the ending especially every time, like I'm fucking balling by the ending.
Oh,
Where it's just
great
like, you see
movie.
like how your life's work came to like be
Ah,
and like your
and
place
they
in
hit you
history
with
is
the
like, oh
music, and
yeah, yeah.
all the magic. You're like, "Ah."
is
Ah!
that
Yeah.
is
No,
that
good
Gina
one.
Davis in makeup at the end?
Yeah.
No, I think that's the
Yeah.
actual actress.
N
Yeah, because I
n
looked it up. It was an actual actress.
Oh, okay.
okay, I was
Looks
like,
like
it
her.
really looked like her.
Yeah. No, it was
But,
good.
Yeah.
okay, Dowling, any movies you've seen
Oh, yeah.
recently?
Yes. So I recently went on a trip with my daughter for diving, had some plane flying to do. Finished the audiobook of Revenge of the Sith. Incredible. Then I watched the movie again for the first time in 10 years or so.
Was also
Um,
incredible.
the book is so good. The
Yeah,
movie,
yeah.
it just feels there's so much missing. Like, when you fill in the pieces, it actually becomes a good story because the book monologues a lot and you hear what they're thinking.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what makes you wanna care. Instead, like, the movie just feels hollow. But sick fight scenes, I mean, Battle of Mustafar, incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
John
Yeah,
Williams.
I've wanted to revisit them, but, like, I don't know, like, there's only so many Star Wars talks I can have, because it always ends up being the same conversation. I just
Nah,
remember my friend and I,
I
we
like
wanted to
the
do, like,
old stuff.
we wanted to do May the 4th, and we were like, "Oh, like, let's commit and watch all the Star Wars movie." This is, like, 6, 7 years ago. We started a Phantom Menace, and we're gonna be like, "Yeah, let's do something else."
Yeah.
Like,
Phantom Menace.
like,
I
life
tried
is
the Phantom
short.
Menace, like, last year, and I got, like after the pod racing scene, I was trying, I was really trying, and I got past the pod racing scene, and I was just
I
like,
don't like the pod
Darling, the
racing,
only time the Power Racer part is the best part,
and
if you ask me.
it's not my Star Wars.
Yeah, yeah. The only time I've,
mm,
like, liked Phantom Menace, like, in my adulthood is when, Darling, back in the day when, we introduced those Irish coworkers of ours to,
Yes.
the prequel trilogy because they never saw the prequels.
Yes.
Yeah, and
That
we're like,
was
"Oh,
fun.
shit." Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that's
The,
probably more because we were getting drunk to it.
that was fun.
Yeah.
The novel, if you ever wanna read it, James Luceno, it's called Plagueis. really good read. That makes Phantom Menace more understandable, but the movie's still subpar, except for the lightsaber fights. You know,
Yeah.
that's really it. It hit when I was, like, a junior in high school. Uh,
Hit when I
you
was
know,
6.
oh, it was fun.
But
It was
Tom
fun, but, like, it wasn't good.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I'll
Tommy,
touch
Sorry.
quickly upon a couple, revival screens I went to. So our next episode after this is gonna be 2001: A Space Odyssey because I finally saw it in theaters. Yale did a
Yeah,
so
35
jealous.
never
millimeter,
went to.
print of it. So fucking fun. Blew me away. We'll talk about it more next week, or next time. But also, we sponsored Connecticut Cult Classics. They did in the Strand Seymour a screening of Dawn of the Dead remake and Night of the Living Dead remake, and I just love the Dawn of the Dead remake. It's Zack Snyder with a James Gunn script, which is an interesting combination that somehow really works. And you have Ving Rhames and then Reed just playing like a fucking like big ass fucking badass in like the best way possible. It's a fun zombie movie, and the zombies are fucking like super fast in it. And seeing there's like a crowd that's just like very locked in at midnight, and like this is always a theater that gets very rowdy and stuff like that. People just like laugh at every joke, laugh at every fucking zombie thing, or like clapping when like the asshole in the movie finally dies. I was like, "Let's fucking go!" It's that type of screen. That's the type.
Interactive.
Yeah, it's the type of screen you want for like cheesy, fun horror movies. So,
Nice.
yeah, shout out to the Strand and Connecticut Cult Classics for setting that up.
Well,
That's
this
cool.
is The Insider.
What does this guy have to say that threatens these people?
Well, it isn't cigarettes are bad for you.
He's only the key witness in the biggest health reform issue in U.S. history.
He met an insider who was ready to reveal what no one else could tell.
I was told, don't talk.
Al Pacino,
The more truth he tells, the worse it gets.
Russell Crowe,
I told the truth. It's not the point whether you tell the truth or not.
The Insider, a Michael Mann film. Rated R. Starts Friday, November 5th.
The Insider is a 1999 American biographical thriller film directed by Michael Mann and written by Mann and Eric Roth, based on Marie Brenner's 1996 Vanity Fair article, The Man Who Knew Too Much. The film stars Al Pacino, Russell Crowe, Christopher Plummer, Bruce McGill, Diane Venora, and Michael Gambon. A fictionalized account of a true story, it centers on the controversial 60-minute segments about Jeffrey Wigand, a whistleblower in the tobacco industry, covering his and CBS producer Lowell Bergman's struggles as they defend his testimony against effort to discredit and suppress it by CBS and Wigand's former employer. Although not a box office success, The Insider received acclaim from critics who praised Crowe's portrayal of Wigand and Mann's direction. It was nominated for 7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Actor in a Leading Role for Russell Crowe. Yeah, so we are at the finale of our Michael Mann month, and what a month it's been. It's been beautiful. I think for Michael Mann, this is a very interesting movie for him to come off of Heat with. Um, Here, where he
Yeah, the
is,
Heat follow up.
this is the Heat follow up
Yeah.
4 years later, and he despite not really getting any got 0 Academy acclaim when it came out in '95. It had De Niro and Pacino for the first time together on screen, first time working on a project together since Godfather 2, 2 of your biggest movie stars ever.
Yeah.
It just got this massive attention, and I think as time has kinda gone on, like, that movie has just aged gracefully like wine. Um,
Mhm.
this movie seems to I feel like The Insider and Ali kind of fall to the wayside when you're talking about Man. It's like you could talk about, like, Thief, Heat, Collateral, Miami Vice. I would say those are, like, the big 4 in terms of, like, the public conscious of Michael Mann. But I would say after
Yeah.
now, like, spending time with Michael Mann and his filmography, this is, again, one of his strongest, films here. To take a subject to make a newsroom thriller drama is not an easy task, and I think this one, especially this one, where I feel like a lot of them usually revolve around a newspaper and, like, the writing of the articles and just that kinda setting. twisting it on its head and making it about television production and kind of showing a little bit more of that side, that animal of things, really gives it a fresh approach here. And then you have Russell Crowe as Jeffrey Wigand. And I read the Vanity Fair article, and after reading it and kind of learning more about who this guy is, more so than the movie will touch on, I think Russell Crowe's performance is like blew me away as Jeffrey Wigand.
Well,
And
what's
He's
incredible
so
about it is
good.
because of his confidentiality, Jeffrey Wigand's like still confidential agreement that like he could not talk to the production about like anything. He pretty much could not be like an assistant. Like he pretty much just told the production like, yeah, like don't have any smoke any cigarettes. Eric Roth, the screenwriter who also wrote Forrest Gump, co-wrote the screen play with Michael Mann, met with Wigand briefly, and so all Russell Crowe really had to go off of was the original 60-minute story,
in the
and that's how
Vanity
he built
Fair
Super Bowl.
article.
Yeah, in the Vanity Fair
Yeah.
article. That's pretty much it. And
And I think he played him with, like, ultimate stoicism, like that
oh
deadpan
yeah.
starting from the beginning, like, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to get soy sauce." Like, boom, set the tone early, like
Yeah. And it's just one of those things that, like, you can immediately tell why, like, he, like, blew up, like, after this because, like, he was already on the ascent, but I feel like this, like, when you're able to hold your own against Al Pacino, that's like, okay, this is your final, like, big league moment. Like,
"You
can
got
you pass this
chops, kid,"
test?
you know?
Yeah,
This is hitting a home
exactly.
run in the All-Star game, right? Like this
100%.
is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
this is hitting off of Pedro Martinez
"Here's
at
your shot,
Fenway. Yeah, here's your shot, kid. Let's go.
and you knocked
But
it
but
out of the park."
But in the Michael Mann of it all, I mean, like, this is a movie where one of the notes I wrote down was this is probably the most tense scene ever of people just faxing each other back and forth. That scene is just so well like directed and so well paced out. Where like you have the scene where Al Pacino is playing Lowell Bergman, who is a 60 Minutes producer, and he is trying to get someone to read some technical documents for a tobacco company. And one of his guys points him to Jeffrey Wigand, who got recently fired by a tobacco company. So he calls up Jeffrey Wigand. His wife immediately says no. And then he calls again and he's like, I can't talk to you about this or whatever. And then they start faxing each other back and forth. And the way they do it is just so well, just like paced out. And the way you see like the different things. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time just watching, just
What
like,
Well,
it
this whole movie is so good at creating suspense, like the little
yeah.
bits, like him, the shots in the backyard, like the furnace springing to life, like it just
Or even like
create
the
yeah,
blocking, like that scene of
great
Jeffrey
tension.
Wigand, like from moment one, pretty much the paranoia is there. Like when you have like
Yeah, it's
them
almost like you're
meeting
feeling watched, it's
at all
yeah,
times, because like you
yeah.
notice the things like especially on rewatch where like when he first meets with Al Pacino, Lowell Bergman, Russell Crowe, in the like
hotel.
hotel room, and then the guy comes in like for like the room service, and he just gives Russell Crowe a look that lingers for like maybe a second too long, and you start thinking like, is
You
that
get
guy?
the
See on the
mm,
payroll.
Yeah. Is he on the payroll? Is he on the payroll? And then you have, like, stuff where, like, this is more obvious, but I thought the blocking scene was so brilliantly done, where, like, he's at the driving range. Just Russell Crowe
oh,
shooting
gives you the
sh
heebie-jeebies,
yeah, and it's, like, late at night, he's by himself for or so he thinks. He's just shooting, like, some, fucking, doing some, like, hits and whatever, stuff like that, and there's another
It's like,
guy
why is he
that's,
wearing
like
a suit?
yeah, that's wearing a suit, maybe, like, 10 or
Ooh,
20 feet
And he's
behind him.
just he's just eyeing him the
stink
whole
eye on
time.
him.
And this is right
Yeah.
after he calls Lowell Bergman and blows up in his face, being like, "I talked to you, and all of a sudden now I gotta sign this expanded confidentiality agreement. This is what happened. This is what you do. You don't protect all the spiel that he gives him." And then he
You don't
realizes
know
it's
how
like,
far people will go when there's this much money at stake.
to
It's a
protect
lot of
to
money.
protect their interests.
It's a
Yeah,
lot of
exactly.
money. It's
Because, well,
terrifying.
and even in terms of just, like, the cast, like, this cast is all-timer. This is, like, character
Oh,
actor heaven. When you
Christopher
have a movie
Plummer. Oh, I
yeah,
love him, baby.
when you
He's
have a movie that
great.
has Philip Baker Hall and, like, Stephen Tobolowsky, and you're gonna be like, "Okay, like, I'm in character
R-
actor heaven," and me with Michael Gambon for
Right,
one scene, Dumbledore himself.
Rip Torn for a hot
Oh,
30
Yeah.
seconds.
I got so blue balled by Rip Torn being in the opening
Ah,
credits.
I know.
I like I'm watching The Insider. I'm at the screening. I see Rip Torn And I'm like, "Holy shit, we got Rip Torn performance. Hell yeah, let's go. This guy's awesome." He's maybe in, like, one scene where, like, for 30 seconds, he's on the phone talking to someone, and I was like,
Maybe.
"Where the fuck's my Rip Torn, Michael Mann?"
I
It's like,
have to imagine
what's that thing?
there's an expanded version of this movie that's 5 hours long,
The Rip
especially
Torn
after
cut?
reading the Vanity Fair piece, like, this movie I
If I didn't have the statute of limitations, I would have done the things that the guys did for Yesterday, where they sued the production company for the movie Yesterday because Anna de Armas was in the trailer, but she was not in the actual movie, and, like, this is false advertising. I thought I was gonna see my fucking Anna de Armas. I think they won the lawsuit too.
what?
This is
That's
the
the
thing that actually
height
happened.
of pettiness.
Yeah. Like, it's
Oof.
like, you told me I was gonna see Anna de Armas in your movie about the Beatles never existing, and then she's not in your movie. Give me my money back.
That was a cute movie. I watched it on a plane once.
Yeah, but you know
That's
who's
the
not
one
in
where
it?
the guy, like, he gets knocked out and, like, everyone but him has forgotten the Beatles.
Tim is just so shocked by this, like, whole revelation that he just took his headphones off and just left the recording. He got up. I don't know if he's ever coming back. This is it. He's just like, "What
Yeah.
has society come to at
Well,
this point?"
no, I loved, Christopher Plummer's scene when he's sitting there and, like, talking to, like, the other execs, and he's like, "When you get to, like, 78, you develop a sense of 'fuck you.'" I was like, "That was sick." Very Walter Sobchak, you know?
Well, it's amazing, and, like, the way they style him is perfect, and,
Yeah. That
there's one
old
point.
Mike Wallace newsman, you know, it's
Yeah, and
different.
just, like, the way he's interacting with, just Al Pacino, especially in that scene towards the end of the movie. We're jumping around, is what it is. And he's, like, telling him, like, "You know, at my age, you worry more about the legacy you leave.
Yeah.
You worry more about, like, how I'm gonna perceived, and if I went to had this go through, my legacy be tarnished. I'd be known as the guy that destroyed 60 Minutes and destroyed, CBS."
Well, that's the ultimate insult when you're like, "You're a disgrace to Edward R. Murrow." It's like, that's they put the hex on you on that one, like,
Mhm.
they used to have integrity, they
It's like
used
when
to really care.
when you really watch, like, the 60 Minutes interview that this, movie was, like, really based on, or, like, the whole thing, true story of it, um, and you see, like, how Mike Wallace was in that interview with Jeffrey Wigand, and then you see how Christopher Plummer was, like, portraying that performance, it's almost like one for one. It's perfect, and, like,
It's awesome.
yeah, and to a point that, like, I'll just say it now, I guess Timmy can react later,
Yeah.
where I'm watching this movie at the best video screening, and I'm thinking like, "Oh, Mike Wallace is in this movie? He's playing himself?"
Ah.
It took me a little bit to realize, like, "Oh, that's Christopher Plummer. That's not Mike Wallace
Plum
himself."
Plummer's a good actor, man. He was in Sound of Music. He could do anything.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
no, it was great,
What a
and,
chameleon.
like, that
Yeah,
kind of conviction, that kind of attitude, it's like,
yeah.
I'm a journalist. Like,
Timmy, now that
look how broken up Pacino was when he was like,
oh, yeah.
"I always protect my source, like, I don't
Tim,
lie."
real quick, now that you're back, are you at all shocked that when I first saw this movie, I thought for the first, like, 30, 40 minutes that Mike Wallace was actually in this movie playing himself?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
how good Plummer is, but again, it's like his, like, whole cadence where he's talking to Russell Crowe back and forth, and they had that interview, and, like, he's going off, and he's like, "A delivery device for nicotine.
Oh,
Light it up, smoke it,
Eh,
and take it."
hearing him
It's
say that was like a nostalgia bell for me, like, after watching some
oof.
random NFL game and then just hearing Mike Wallace's voice again, but hearing Christopher
it
Plummer
through
do it,
Christopher
I
Plummer.
was just like, "Whoa, hold
Because that's what I was saying, like, where, like, you watch the 60 Minutes interview, the actual one, which, and you hear it, and it's like, literally, that was taken verbatim from the fucking newsreel,
Eh,
and it's just, like, it's a one for one. It's just such a great performance, and he's just, like, an antagonistic force throughout this movie. He's not the villain, but he's just, like,
no.
a kind of a chaotic force of nature. When he gets to the point where, they he's interviewed by, like, another CBS, show, and he finds out that he was basically censored. It was a form of censor called coercion, where
Oh,
they edit
yeah.
down his interview to just make it very concise and to be like, "Yes, that's all he says." And he goes up to Gina Gershon,
Oh,
gets up in
yeah.
her fucking face, and it was like, "Call me Mr. Wallace." And it's just you feel it. You're
we
like,
may be colleagues.
We are not
We
equals.
are not
yeah,
equals. Like,
you could feel the tension right there.
Flex.
You wanna fucking, like, hide away. If that happened to you, you're like, "Okay, shit." And then Steven Tobolowsky, he's just, like, fucking squirming away. That was another one name I saw, I was like, movie. And I just love the one there's, like, 3 shot of Al Pacino, Christopher Plummer, Philip Baker Hall, and I'm like, "This is what movies are all about. This is what we need."
just three dudes in a room. This is what movies are
Yeah.
all about, man.
Well, let me try something, lads. This is an age check. Did you recognize uh Russell Crowe, Dr. Wygand's daughter?
No.
I know what it is, but
Okay.
I don't know what it was.
She was in she was the Pepsi girl. Swear to God, probably 10 commercials. Played everywhere, like, played during the Super Bowl, like, everywhere. There's one where, like, her and her grandpa walk into a store, and then she starts talking like Joe Pesci, like, all over the place. I just learned while watching this, I was like, "Oh, it's the Pepsi girl." I looked it up. That's fricking Jesse Eisenberg's older sister.
Oh, that's wild.
That is
No
wild.
idea. I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, and then, like, looked, she's, like, not an actress anymore and, like, 33 and fine, but, like, I had no
Well
idea she was related to him, and she got the start first. That's how they broke into acting.
well, apparently, like, when people saw The Insider in theaters, at the time, like, audiences were laughing when she popped up because, like, those
Oh,
ads,
yeah.
like, just
No,
started up.
no, she was everywhere. It was
Yeah.
probably the most, like, likable commercial of the era.
I
Like,
should know that as someone's dad who worked at Pepsi during that era.
you doesn't matter, but it was me, like, we
Yeah,
had
yeah, yeah.
cable, and I was like, "Oh," I I haven't seen one of those commercials in over 20 years. Saw this movie, I was like, "Holy shit, it's the Pepsi girl." It was just like, that's how
Oh,
inundated it was.
I guess this is a point to bring this up. I think the one like so weak link in this movie, and it's a criticism you see of Man in general, where like he does not like write well developed female characters, and the wife, Russell Crowe's wife in particular in this movie, is just I think a real weak link of this movie. It's to the point that like it's what she was Al Pacino's wife in Heat. What's her name? Diane Venora. Also in a movie called The Substitute, which rocks. A really fun dumb movie.
Tom Berenger?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, awful fun movie. But anyways, in this movie, the whole entire time that Dion Vriara is speaking, I'm expecting her to say, "Well, I do declare." It's just like it's so much like her accent work is just like awful. And I'm watching the 60 Minutes interview where she's featured in it, like the real one, and the real life person does not have that pronounced of a Southern accent to the point that like she sounds like Foghorn Leghorn right here, bro. It's like I don't support you going after tobacco over here.
No, and it's also the Skylar from Mad Men effect, from, Breaking Bad too, like, everything she's saying and every move she makes, she's very dislikable too. It's like, we're getting separated, like, she's eh.
Oh, I thought the accent was not good, but I didn't think it was the character that was bad. I thought it was like, it was what happened. Like
I know.
Yeah, yeah.
No, that's what
they
I mean.
separate
It's
Well,
unfortunate,
I
but,
will say in
like,
terms of the
it's
character
not making
itself
him endearing, you know?
yeah, in terms of the character itself, in terms of the real person, like, I can see where they're coming from. Where, like, yeah, you didn't sign up to be a part of this whistleblower campaign, and
Yeah.
now you're like, the moment another great moment of, like, tension of directing, when she goes downstairs in the basement and sees on the computer the
Oh,
message that
yeah.
pops up, "Fucking stop. We will kill you. We will kill your family. We will kill your children." She is understandably fucking spooked.
1000% reasonable thing to do.
Yeah,
Be like, "All right, I'm out."
yeah, immediately, just, like,
I
done.
get it.
well,
But
and
it's a
in the Vanity Fair article, that was the moment, and at least as it was told in the article, that was the moment that she was told, because like that happened later than in the telling of the movie's story, like that specific hate crime towards them, and that was the moment where she started yelling at him, being like, "Get out of the house! Like you can't stay here! Like we're done."
Yeah, you ruined our family. And in terms of the script, it's wild how the script was pretty much made. Where
It's not
Eric
so much a
Roth
hate crime as like terrorizing. Like,
terrorizing,
Terrorizing,
yeah,
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 you know,
is
like you're
more of
terrorizing them.
yeah.
Like, we're gonna scare you until you do what we want.
scare you
And
into
like,
submission.
can you
So
imagine threatening
on a
to
similar
kill
note, Michael
someone?
Mann, like
Gives you the
who's
scope
known
of this.
Yeah, Michael Mann, who's known for his, like, attention to detail. This film, he had to take so many steps further where him and Eric Roth, in order to, like, avoid any blowback from tobacco industry, because the tobacco industry had to pay off some lawsuits after this, and they were ready to fucking go, and if this movie had even a second of fucking libelous information, they would pounce on it and just, like, fucking sue the fuck out of Disney, sue the fuck out of Michael Mann. So he had to fucking make sure all his ducks were in a row. So, pretty much anytime Eric Roth and Michael Mann write the script, if they had to follow anything that was verified in this movie, they had to make sure that was verified by at least three separate sources, or else it didn't make the film as a fact. So, for example, is the one scene where Russell Crowe finds the bullet in his mailbox. It was believed that this was a private investigator that placed the bullet there as a direct threat, but they couldn't verify that completely. So instead, they
The
just
end of
made
the
that
movie.
ambiguous. Yeah, ambiguous in the movie. And so, like,
And
okay,
at the end of the movie, they have the disclaimer, like, this is based on, you know,
This is
what some
fictionalized
findings.
versions of real
So
Yeah.
events.
which you don't really always see that in a based on a true story. Like, you have movies like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre where it's
Yeah.
like, "No, Leatherface is not a real thing." Like, what the fuck? But
Well,
that
you know, people take artistic liberty with that all the time. Like Fargo, they're like, this is a true story. It didn't happen like that. You know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like there's a lot of liberties, but
Well,
they're
this
not.
movie in The Insider, they had to make a 300-page script, that was a lot of it just detailed annotations listing every single verified source of information regarding each piece of historical data shown in the film. That way, they could be like, "We can't sue you. This is all fact. You
Well,
can't sue us."
Well, like, they weren't lying in the movie when they're like, "You realize the scope of what we're up against? They are batting 1,000. They've been sued countless times for personal injury, and they've never lost a thing." Like, that wasn't a lie. Like, you know, they're good at defending what they do. And,
And
like,
that's why the release valve of this movie is the Bruce McGill scene where he brings in
oh,
Russell Crowe in
incredible.
just an
And the courtroom
all-timer.
litigation.
Yeah,
Oh, so good.
when he's going up against Wings Hauser of all people, and Wings Hauser's playing the tobacco clerk, and they have to bring in Russell Crowe to basically just, like, say a few things so that they can, get it on the court record, so then 60 Minutes can talk about it. And the back and forth of that movie, I could have watched the whole movie that's just Bruce McGill and Wings Hauser
Yeah.
going at it back and forth. It is fucking amazing. It's an all-timer, like, heat check performance where it's just
What
like,
you
he
mm.
he starts yelling at Wings Hauser, like, "You wipe that smirk off your face!"
I was
And it's
just
like,
gonna say I
"Oh!"
was just gonna say, what a line
I
where he's
Yeah, yeah.
like,
You know what it really reminded me of? It reminded me of the kangaroo court scene in Oppenheimer and, like, Chris Nolan, who's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
famously, like, this guy loves Michael Mann. He,
oh, yeah.
his influences throughout all
Dark
of
Knight
his
Feet, you know,
his influences everywhere in his whole filmography. Like, that scene was just like, "Oh, this is the kangaroo." But, the moment I really wanted to touch on was the lead up to that, where there
mm,
was the claim filed in the Kentucky court, trying to hold him from the deposition. That was basically saying, if you do this deposition in the state of Mississippi, if you step foot back in the state of Kentucky, they can arrest you.
yeah, it's a
A
gag order,
the gag order.
like,
And
Yeah, yeah.
and just the moment of contemplation there, and just this, like, the score was incredible, just this, like, minimalist banjo just, like, plucking while you're hearing the sounds of the sea crashing over, and, like, the serious nature of it, like, there's nobody quipping, there's nobody trying to make light of the situation. It is very serious, and it just gives it's part of that elevated Michael Mann style that really, like, enhances his movies and gives them this cool factor, this cool power, I almost wanna say, like, there's just such a
Yeah.
power in his in his
passion, and
in
you feel it.
and you feel it,
Well,
and
'cause
especially when Crow just says, "Fuck it." Like when they're basically all like, "We really hope you do this, but we also kind of understand, like, why you might not do this at this
Well,
point." Like,
you could go to jail. Like, there are places you can't travel anymore after the like, you're kicking the biggest hornet's nest on the planet with an unlimited bankroll. And,
Yeah.
like, we get it, but, like,
Well,
we
that's what's
really
so
want you
great
to. Yeah?
about right after that moment, you had the Bruce McGill scene, and then
Oh, we're
it
gonna
pretty
fight for you,
much
baby.
it pretty much feels like this is a victory lap for this movie. It's like, okay, job well done. We did it. The 60 Minutes report's gonna come out, and then the last hour movie is just a total rug pull, where it's just like, but wait, there's more. You don't realize how fucking big this is for tobacco.
We're gonna
They're
trip you before the
Oh,
finish line a
well,
lot.
well, also,
yeah.
another thing from the Vanity Fair article that the movie touches upon, which is the sale of CBS to Westinghouse, like that was a part of it. But the other side of this was that Tish, who owned CBS, who bought it, um, he also owned L'Oreal, one of the big 7 tobacco companies. Like, he bought it in 1968, like, not realizing what kind of litigious nature he was going into. He claims it was just an investment, right, opportunity
Mhm.
here. So, another side of this CBS story and the CBS News team being like, "You cannot do this," is they were buying assets from BMW at the time, some of the cigarettes for antitrust reasons. So that was another thing that just didn't make the cut. I wonder if it's another, like, we couldn't get 3 verifiable sources. I think another thing could just be pace. It's like, this movie's already, like,
Yeah.
so plot heavy and so deep. Like, do we need to add another layer, or
Yeah.
do you have the point already? Like, do you
Yeah,
get
well,
the stakes these guys are up
exactly.
against?
It's like the idea's already driven home. They're bad. Like, we know they're bad. We don't have to also put an extra one where it's like, "Oh, yeah, they were playing both sides too." It's like, they're bad enough,
Yeah.
We
Doesn't
get it.
change
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it doesn't change the feel.
But
Totally.
this is like where Pacino really shines in the last hour of this movie. I think that's like
Because
really like where he.
it shifts from Wygand to Bergman, like, in terms of,
Mhm.
like, your protagonist of the movie. Like,
Oh yeah.
this is where Lowell Berkman, who I think in this movie is kind of encapsulating a couple of people. Again, I think it's another effort for streamlining. It's very common in these kind of biographical
Totally.
films where, you know, there was a PR group for Jeffrey Wigand that came in and kind of helped spearhead the 500-page defamation that was getting leaked to the Wall Street Journal. Another thing they mentioned in the article is, like, when that came into the Wall Street Journal, like, the Wall Street Journal writers were looking at it like, oh yeah, this is like, they were like, any journalist worth their salt could smell this out and be like, "Oh, this is just a hit piece." Like, there's nothing that's truly verifiable,
Mhm.
um, or
Yeah.
newsworthy in here. Versus in the movie, Pacino really has to fight to get that article delayed and get more information coming in. And, like, again, he's taking on many hats in this movie, and I get it. Like, it's a newsroom drama at the end of the day, so it kind of has to fall into them. I think the other
Yeah.
big difference was that Mike Wallace and Lowell Bergman were always on the same side, and Mike Wallace didn't stand up to him and be like, "I agree. We have with Bruce. We have
Well,
to keep the thing."
there's a back and forth with Wallace on that where he has like kind of like iffy details where like sometimes he said I faltered for 12 hours and then Berman's like, yeah, it's more than 12 hours. It's a little more than that. Or like he like kind of
Yeah,
flip flop. But in terms of the movie itself, just the scene itself where him, Philip Baker Hall, Stephen Tobolowsky, and Pacino are talking about it after they hear from Gina Gershon, the real thing, what's going to happen. And they're just talking back and forth, and you're hearing it. And it's like one of those things, one of the best things about Pacino is how great of a listener he can be. And you can really take it in that when Mike Wallace, he's arguing for the whole thing. He's talking and he's had some great lines where like, this is newsworthy. Yes. Are we going to air it? No. Fucking great, compelling thing. But then all of a sudden he's arguing and he thinks the whole entire time Mike Wallace is on his side and is going to say, air the story. And he says, nope, I'm with Philip Baker Hall. It feels like Al Pacino, his reaction, like a gunshot just went off and his heart just broke and shattered into a million pieces where he's like,
yeah, and especially, like, we didn't touch on the beginning of this movie, which I think really is a great way to establish both these characters, Lowell Bergman and Jeffrey Wigand, but especially Lowell Bergman, where we're brought in through the credits trail with Pacino with a mask over his eyes,
I
like,
was just
in
gonna
the
say.
Middle East. You're like, whoa, what are we getting thrown into? And he's trying to talk to the Ayatollah in Iran. and set up a 60 minutes interview. And, you know, when you're thinking about this movie, it's very, very plot oriented. It moves quick. And then in this, but the beginning of this movie is really establishing who Lowell Bergman is as a character, as a producer, and what he does to verify his sources and make and take care of the people in his corner. So we get all of that there, and it's all compressed into those first like ten minutes of the movie. Um,
Eh,
and it keeps
it
coming back.
certainly gives you the cut of his jib
Yeah.
early,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"There, I'll go in, I'll risk my like, I said I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it correctly, real fast, 100%."
Yeah. And
He's locked in, and he's, like, showing that he's, like, now, like, immediately going to bow down and, like, immediately just, like, cower, and, like, the conviction that him
Yeah,
and even Mike Wallace has in that scene. It's just, like,
yeah.
really set up the, like, character moments right there, and
Getting
it
his finger all in the face of the guards, be like, "You know who you goddamn talking to, I love it."
yeah.
Flexing your old AARP card, you
he's like,
know?
"What am I going to do? Assassinate him with this notebook at
Yeah,
78 years old? Like, what do you think I'm going to
Yeah,
do
yeah.
here when we're
yeah.
trying to
"I
turn the
can't
chair?"
do an interview like this. Turn your chair a little bit."
Yeah,
Like,
like
it's perfect.
he's like, what are you dealing with here?
Old
And then
school
somebody, and
journalism.
then Lowell Bergman coming in just very calmly, just being like, going up to the Ayatollah, do you mind just turning your chair a little bit? And he's like, yeah, no problem. Like, it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
no problem. While the security guard there is freaking out,
Yeah, oh.
you
No,
know,
it's very tense early, and it
and
shows his
it's
calm under pressure, it's awesome.
it's another great way of setting the tone of the movie
Yeah,
and
Yeah, yeah.
setting the expectations for who these characters are in the movie. Um, I really think that, like, man, especially, exploring 4 of his movies in 1 month, he's a master at that. Like, he is able to, for movies that tend to be very plot oriented, he's able to give these characters life in ways that lesser films are unable to, or not as effectively. And it really draws you in. And holds your attention, because it's not the easiest sell. Like, I told my girlfriend, I'm like, "Oh, we're watching The Insider," and she's like, "What's that about?" I'm like, "It's about the whistleblower from 60 Minutes, who exposed big tobacco." I'm like, "You hate big tobacco. You should be into this." She's like, "Uh,
Oh, no,
Yeah,
you know,
my
you
girlfriend's like,
know,
"I'm good."
yeah, it's not the easiest sell of a movie.
no. Well,
It's not a boys' night movie
That's
that
why
you
it's so
throw on."
funny. It's so funny that like, Disney with Touchstone, when they released this, they were expecting this to be a huge hit, just like All the President's Men, and turns out that, like, the audience wasn't there. I mean, Dowling, like you said, you were a movie theater employee, you could have saw this for
yeah,
free.
dude, it was the wrong place at the wrong time. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
we were hitting, like, big action,
And
It was
different audience appetite, and I think
yeah,
also a let
and, like,
not
my
n-
parents weren't going to see this, they were smokers,
and
and
not
my generation, a lot of us didn't.
Apparently, the prime audience of this movie was over the age of 40, which makes
Yeah,
complete sense.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
also, like, think about All the President's Men and what it was encompassing, which was the biggest scandal in the history of the White House. Like, the scale and the knowledge of that is different than, like, an expose on an industry that people
right.
already were like, yeah, of course they're habit forming. Like, of course they do these things. Like,
Yeah,
even though they won't
everyone
admit
knew
them
that.
publicly, it
No,
was all
everyone
it's
knew
all
that,
this, like, litigious documentation stuff that was going on, where, like, they probably had already lost that in the court of public opinion.
and to be honest, by my age, only the bad kids smoked, and, it was like, "Oh, look, it's addictive, and this is a horrible thing." It's like, I don't wanna watch that, like, that would be like watching, like, someone do taxes, for me at the time.
Yeah,
It's
Well,
like
exactly. So marketing executives apparently said that this movie, like, was not notably dramatic, and even, like, the Disney chairman at the time, Joe Roth, said that this movie was like walking up a hill for a refrigerator on your back. And, like, he's
yeah,
like, "The fact of the matter is we're really proud of what we did with this movie. People say it's the best movie they say this year. They say,
it's a
'Why don't we
good
make
movie.
movies more movies like this?' And it's just like, 'cause the audience wasn't there for it, unfortunately.
So
Unfortunately
this is why we had the Avengers, huh, Tommy?
yeah,
This
yeah, yeah.
moment.
Well,
Great movie, not enough people see it. We need more
ma
appeal.
ma m m many such sad tales, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
Many such sad tales.
Good flick. But, it's like, am I gonna rewatch this in 10 years? Probably not.
I don't know. I'll say this as someone that watched this movie twice in the span of a week. This movie plays really well on rewatch. It's just really compelling because it's just like seeing masterclass acting of Pacino and Plummer going toe to toe, Pacino and Crowe toe to toe, going after each other, yelling at each other, and just like it's fun. Yeah,
I feel like this is a sneaky rewatchable. This feels like a TNT
Maybe.
or like an HBO rewatchable. I feel like it would have played more in that cable age of like, oh,
Yeah,
okay, we're
maybe
like
give
if you
it the
turn
Shawshank treatment,
yeah, like
and then
if you turned it on and they're in Mississippi and you're about to get the Bruce McGill scene, you're like, okay, yeah,
no, I'm gonna
exactly. That's
watch
an
I'm
it.
gonna tune,
all-timer, like, rewatchable.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
tune in for this, and then unless you're finishing the movie, right? Like it's one of
yeah.
those where it's like there's so many jumping in points that I think you could like. I even think of like Crowe and Pacino talking in the car, like kind of this
Ah,
like under the
It's a
radar
great
scene, but it's
scene.
just them going back and forth at each
No,
other.
so
no, and
look,
I don't know if I would ever start it. Like,
That's the
I
thing.
just
It's
rewatched
in
Top Gun Maverick with Fiona because we were on vacation. I'm like, "You wanna watch it?" It's like, "Yes." We've both seen it more than once. We're watchable. Like, I'll always watch My Cousin Vinny if it's on. Like, I don't know if this is one I would put on just to watch. I
you
don't
I
wouldn't
know.
seek it out, but you go into it, and but
Good flick. Good flick.
yeah,
But I think though, like in the age of streaming, like this was on Disney Plus or Hulu,
I'll give it another shot too.
they're kind of tied at the hip at this point. But if you're going to put on a movie like and you have a million options to go through, I think you're kind of right in a way that it's a tougher one to press the button on and say, yeah,
Yeah.
let's
I
go.
let me commit to this 2.5 hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. It's, hey, I'll give it another shot in a little bit. We'll see what's what.
I am a star. I'm a star, I'm a star, I'm a star. I am a big, bright, shining star.
All right, guys, who is the star of the show? Who gave the best performance here? I mean, I know we've kind of been talking about them all the way through, but I feel like Russell Crowe just kind of got lost a little bit in our shuffle here in terms of the conversation because I feel like a lot of his performances were on the phone or him by himself. One scene that like really stood out to me is like, and at this point in the story, like I didn't know the full story. I thought that he was gonna kill himself, like, I
Oh, yeah.
genuinely thought it was gonna come down to that when he's trapped in the hotel room staring at the 18th floor, the legal department, the people that are trying to destroy my life, and Lowell Bergman's trying to get in touch with him, the hotel's trying to, like, get into the room, and then the wall just shifts, and it's him, like, watching his family, like,
Oh, yeah.
out in the yard,
Dude,
and
But
it's
and real quick, I do wanna mention, great performance by the hotel clerk trying to, like, translate Pacino. He's like, pick up the fucking phone." He's just, like, so nervous to fucking do it.
little bit of
Um,
levity. I
yeah,
can't
yeah,
say that, sir.
yeah, I can't say that, and Pacino's like, "Oh, fucking man, you're gonna fucking say it." Um, Crow's great. I think that, like I said, like, you can see why. I think that, like, also just, like, the moments of him just looking around, and the one scene where, his daughter says, "Someone's outside." He goes outside with the gun. And he's just looking around, and you can just feel the paranoia and tension that this guy is slowly unraveling. And Don, this is a question for you. How do you think Russell Crowe would hold up as a chemistry teacher?
Oh, dude, he looked fine, if he had a PhD in, uh,
bioengineering.
bioengineering and chemistry, I think he's gonna be fine. And medical, what was it? Endocrinology. Yeah, that's bio. So, like, he had both. He was, Kentucky State Teacher of the Year.
Yeah, this is something that was touched upon in the 60 Minutes, like the actual interview, that wasn't really touched upon in the movie, maybe briefly. That another reason I feel like the wife divorced him was so think of it this way. He was making like about 300K a year from the tobacco company.
It was
And
big
as
money
the
in the
big
90s.
money And as the teacher in Kentucky, he is not in a fucking high profit fucking school district. He was making 30K a
40,
year.
30, yeah.
It's
I
a big lifestyle drop off.
oh,
Yeah.
and
So,
certainly. And,
yeah.
it's
And
there's major discrepancies
and that
in states now.
that's where I don't have like a problem with the character of the wife. Like I think it's totally reasonable.
Yeah.
He set her up. Like he brought her to New York so that he could film the preliminary 60 minutes interview, and he wanted Lowell Bergman to break the news to her, right? Like he didn't
Well,
have a
it's even
plan to
the quiet
communicate with
moment
her.
of him talking to Pacino and being like, I was trying to think of a way to tell her about this. Yeah, it's just like the quiet, like desperation. Like the guy's defeated at this point. He's like fucking half a man at this point. He just doesn't know
And
what to do.
it's
And you can
tough
feel that.
with a
Yeah, you can
man as
feel it.
qualified as him. It's like that's rough. And you heard him say it when he's like, not many people want to give jobs to former tobacco research and
And
developers. It's like,
that's that's what's so great about Crowe's performance because you can feel that desperation from him.
oh, he was he's my star of this one. It's the little things too. He gets like the nervous kind of like shaking, like he just like when he's thinking about his kids and like from the father aspect and that sense of like someone's trying to hurt my family. Like I feel it really rang true. Like
Yeah.
he did a really nice job just kind of like being the character. You couldn't find a flaw in his
Well,
performance.
so he was nominated for an Oscar, and this was like really
Yeah,
which catapulted him to A-lister. So let's talk real quick about the Oscars that year. This is 1999. 1999 is often known as one of the best movie years we ever had.
yeah.
Here was the Oscar list for Best Actor in 1999. So I'll roll them off. Richard Farnsworth, The Straight Story, amazing performance, great movie. David Lynch movie. Sean Penn, Sweet and Lowdown, haven't seen it. Denzel Washington, The Hurricane as Ruben Carter. That's supposed to be a really good
Yep,
performance.
it's
And
very
then
good.
the final one, other than Russell Crowe for The Insider, is the guy who won the Academy Award in a movie that we'll probably never cover, Kevin Spacey in American Beauty.
I like that movie. I
It's a
saw it in
I
theaters.
feel like that's a movie that has just aged like total dirt. Like, oh, do I want to watch the movie where Kevin Spacey's lusting after a teenage daughter?
did it though? Because it's very clear that still persists in our culture.
Yeah, yeah.
With
I
And maybe add an extra wrinkle to it of the creepiness.
it
I
adds
saw it in the theater. I
I
liked it.
really like that movie. I feel like
Yeah.
it's gotten
It
a reputation drag because of like all the
The
parties,
Spacey
like
of it
the
all.
yeah,
spacey of it all, the
the
context of
spacey of it all. It's
the content matter of the story
I think
itself.
it's a beautifully shot movie. I think there's a lot of moving parts to it, and, like, I think
Wait,
everyone in it
so
does an incredible job acting.
as someone who hasn't seen it, you guys have, do you think Spacey deserved to over Crowe?
Spacey was good in it.
I don't know
He
if he
really was.
necessarily
Maybe not, but it's
I don't know
close.
I don't know if he earned it
Yeah.
over Crow, but I've also learned that the Oscars rarely get it right and give it to the person who probably deserved it the most. There's usually a pecking order to these things. There's also like a
Especially
mass
he was the new dude, and he was shooting up too quick.
and there's also these giant PR campaigns that go on for Oscars, and there's campaigning, like there's a whole political scene behind like winning an Oscar that I feel like the nomination itself is obviously not as
That's
much
your
as the stat, but it gives the performance the recognition that
gravitas.
the gravitas and recognition that it deserves in a way that I just don't hold the Oscars in that same like the
Yeah, yeah.
Oscar win just because they get it wrong so often. I feel like there's always debates like how do we fix the Oscars? How do we do I'm like, why don't you do the Oscars for like take a 5-year break, bring them back, like do 100, take a
Yeah,
5-year
dude.
break and then start from 5 years ago and let's talk about movies 5 years later. Like what's
Oh,
persisted? Like what's
that's a good idea.
what is actually kind of, 'cause Oscars started out as an industry award show. Like, every industry has an award show. That is what
course.
the Oscars are, that are just televised. It's just a product that so many people consume that it's a part of our cultural
Culture.
consciousness. Like, okay, then let's change what we're talking about because movies tend to have very different reputations from when they come out to where they are 5 years later, and I think that would be a different way to examine them. It would give these movies a second wind of life, um,
Oh,
5
yeah.
years later as to when they come out. Like, obviously, there's
Yeah.
downsides to it, like, there's a lot of money that gets you get nominated for an Academy Award, you have a whole 'nother life in the movie
Whole
theater.
performance bonus thing and everything.
There's a
So
lot to it, but it's
I do
just a
want to
thought.
touch upon the one person we haven't really talked about, enough, I feel like. Pacino. Al Pacino in this movie. I feel like this is, like, the last time we've had Pacino do a somewhat quiet performance at times. And, this movie, he does go ballistic at the points, but he does give a more nuanced performance and, like, the reputation he had, like, when his character's on cocaine, and he's a crazy devil's advocate, he's playing crazy, and, like, I feel like after maybe, like, this and maybe Insomnia, after that, he's full on just crazy Pacino mode, and, like, this is a version of him that's just, like, a little different, just like the scene you're talking about earlier, Dallin, about him and, Russell Crowe in the car just talking about the Knicks and talking about, like, breaking down the story and stuff like that, and just how he's listening, how he's taking it in and stuff like that. So when we finally get to the moment
Mm.
in this movie where Pacino fucking gets pissed off and goes full Pacino, it really hits. It's amazing. It's fucking compelling. It's really fun to watch.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's just one part of this movie is what makes it so compelling is just watching Pacino just go off on everyone, just go off and tell fucking everyone, like, to piss off and just, like, in the boardroom scenes and just, like, getting out after it.
Are you ready, comedy partner? Waka waka.
Alright. Would The Insider work as a Muppet adaptation? I'm trying to think of, like, who the cast would be. I feel like Kermit is Jeffrey Wigand, right? Um, but then and do you keep
Okay,
Pacino
who
as
do
the
you
human?
No,
keep?
no, no, that's
Who do you
Beaker,
keep?
that's Beaker.
Beaker? Yeah, I guess it is Beaker, yeah, the scientist.
I was
Or
gonna say, you
or
gotta keep Pacino.
Yeah,
yeah, you
you
could
I
keep
think
keep Pacino.
you have Kermit as Mike Wallace.
Sam the
Yes,
Eagle.
because Kermit has the whole reporter fucking getup and
Yeah,
everything
no,
like that.
Kermit has more of that, like, reporter. You have Sam the Eagle as one of the boardroom guys. You need Kermit. It's a Muppets
Sam the
adaptation. You have to
Eagle
have
is Stephen Tobolowsky. That's it right there.
Is
Or no, he's Phil Baker
Waldorf
Hall.
and Statler two of the seven dwarfs, the CEOs of the tobacco company?
Yeah, yeah. One of those things that, like, that image goes around a lot on social media of, like, the 7 tobacco CEOs of just, like, I do not believe nicotine's like, addictive.
I
And
d
just you see
yeah.
that, it's like, Christ. And I love how they keep on going to Michael Gambon doing it because when he fucking says in the movie, his accent work is incredible, unlike the Crow's wife.
Michael Gambon with just such a great little heat check performance. I absolutely
Oh,
loved
yeah.
him in this. Um,
Yeah.
but I do not think this would be a great Muppet adaptation. I don't think it's
No,
one that would,
no,
No,
too
it's
talky.
too talky, too serious, everything
yeah,
the
you
Muppets
don't
kinda
have any stoic lads.
stand against. Alright, review time. Give me your score out of 5, Tommy.
Alright, so I watched this movie twice in a week. The second time was to refresh myself, but I had 0 hesitation in doing that. I was excited. I was like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna get to watch The Insider again." This movie is just really compelling and just amazing performances, like character actor heaven here. And man just directs the tension and paranoia so well, and it really plays off of the Crow performance too. I'm gonna go 4.5 out of 5. I think this is kind of a hidden gem in Man's overall filmography and should be checked out more.
Yeah, and this is a hidden gem in Man's filmography. Dowling, how about you?
Okay, I enjoyed it a lot. I think I'm gonna give it a 4. I
Okay.
think on a rewatch, it might jump to 4.5. It's one of those, like, the draw's not there. Like, if you guys didn't say, like, we're doing a podcast on The Insider, I don't think I'd ever watch this movie in my life. you know?
It doesn't have
So
the
just
it doesn't have the compelling nature of Heat where it's like, okay, De Niro,
totally.
Pacino, crime,
Yeah,
true crime epic thriller. Like, okay, it's got its
yeah, and
runtime, but it's worth it.
yeah, you're getting some juice. Like, it's a sad topic. Like,
Mhm.
no one wins. Like,
Yeah,
and it's done incredibly, but like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's hard to be you know, you got to be an all timer to be incredibly sad, where it's like everyone kind of comes out crappier in the end, like, and get a five. It's
yeah.
not, I enjoy it, but like, you know, it
It's
masterfully done.
it,
Masterfully done.
it's a good
Acting's incredible.
it's a good movie, but for you, it's just not
Exactly.
something you want to pick up and watch.
Exactly.
For
It's
m-
a watch once, revisit maybe,
mhm.
you know?
Well, for me, I'm with Tommy on this one. I'm a 4.5 out of 5. I think this movie is
Nice.
stupendous. I think in its atmosphere, I think it's another example of Michael Mann using atmosphere to add and not to substitute for story or plot. There, he really creates that elevated level that all of his movies have. It's cinema at its finest. Just tremendous performances,
Totally.
tremendous drama, and easily probably the most forgotten gem of Michael Mann's filmography. So for me, 4.5 out of 5. Dowling, thank you so much for joining us. What a
Pleasure, lads.
Yeah.
fantastic
Good
conversation,
times as
fantastic
always.
episode. Really,
Oh,
really
yeah.
good.
Uh,
No, it was a good show. I was glad to watch it.
yeah.
T- Tommy, any final thoughts before we wrap up this episode?
Well, fuck cigarettes. I only smoked a cigarette maybe like once or twice in my life, and it was because a girl at a party said, "Who wants to smoke a cigarette outside of me?" And I was like, "Hi, hi. I smoke cigarettes all the time. I love cigarettes." But it worked. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. You can find us on social media at Scene It Pod. That's on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And we're also on Blue Sky at podscena.bluesky.social. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Helps us out, helps us grow the show. And we have a couple of sponsors to mention. First of all, Old Glory. OldGlory.com has iconic music and sports fan merch and movie merch too. So you can get anything from like any sports team you can think of. Your Mets for Timmy, your Giants for Dowling and Timmy, Jets for me if I want to kill myself. And then we also have shit like Jurassic Park. You have like your Big Lebowski. You have like a lot of movie merch you can think of. They have it. It's
Back
great
to the
stuff.
Future.
So at checkout, you can use promo code Scene It like the way you spell on our podcast, for 15% off. Once again, this promo code Scene It at oldglory.com for 15% off. And also,
And I'll get some before draft.
yeah. And also, we are sponsoring Connecticut Cult Classics. They do great 80s, 90s, like cult classic movies in Seymour, Connecticut at the Strand Theater. Always a great time. I see RoboCop and Starship Troopers there. They're doing Beastmaster on Friday, April 24th, this Friday, if you're listening.
Oh,
And
that
also
one's fun.
in June, they're doing a double feature screening in honor of Rob Reiner. It's Misery and Stand By Me double feature, both his Stephen King adaptations. So it's on June 13th specifically. You can get tickets at ConnecticutCultClassics.com at both events. So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Great time next month. We have some bangers coming up. First off, we're gonna kick it off with 2001: A Space Odyssey, a movie I finally saw. So
Very proud of you for that, Tommy. And thank you all so much for listening. We will see you next time.